In today's video, we're going to be discussing several European countries where you can start a business. We're going to be talking about taxes, companies to start, some of the pros and cons of the individual countries we're discussing in today's video. The first country we wanted to discuss is Bulgaria, a country located in Eastern Europe where a lot of entrepreneurs from America and Canada have recently moved to. They have incorporated businesses in Bulgaria, utilizing Bulgaria's Trade Representative Office visa that gives citizens from abroad the privilege to open up a trade representative office and obtain residence permits for the owners of the companies. Now, one of the interesting things about this visa, and it's actually a requirement for you to have an existing business abroad. So your business must have been established for a number of years for the Bulgarian authorities to consider your application. If you want to apply for this visa, and Bulgaria is probably one of the best countries to incorporate a business and live for a number of reasons. First of all, the taxes in Bulgaria are really low. You're looking at a maximum personal income tax rate of just 10%, making it one of the lowest personal income tax rates across the entire European Union. Yes, there are certain countries in the European Union where you can pay even less in taxes, and these countries are considered tax havens. They exist, but overall Bulgaria has one of the lowest personal income tax rates across the European Union. And the same is also true for corporate taxation in Bulgaria. It is low and it is among the lowest in whole Europe. To start a trade representative office, to get a trade representative office visa in Bulgaria, you must first of all fulfill the foreign entity requirements. Like I have stated early on, you must have your business abroad and it must have been incorporated for a number of years for the Bulgarian authorities to consider your application. Second, you must have the intention of starting a new business in Bulgaria. This is part of the deal, okay? You must do this. And the application must be filed abroad through a consulate or embassy of Bulgaria, ideally in your home country, wherever you are a citizen or resident. In a limited number of circumstances, you may find yourself eligible applying for the Trade Representative Office visa in a country where you're not a resident or citizen. An exemption may be granted under certain circumstances. However, the majority of people, they have to apply at the country they are resident or citizen. Why should you move to Bulgaria? This is another important question that people are asking a lot. So we've talked about the tax incentives and it being relatively easy for an offshore entrepreneur looking to incorporate a business in Bulgaria. So Bulgaria really checks a lot of boxes. On top of that, Bulgaria is home to some of the most talented tech people in whole Europe. Plus, the median salary in Bulgaria is among the lowest in whole Europe, and I believe the lowest or second lowest in the entire European Union, making Bulgaria an ideal destination for startup entrepreneurs looking to hire tech talent for their companies and projects. The next country we wanted to discuss is Italy, and I'm here with Enzo Melgarejo, someone who lived in Italy for some time. He studied in Italy. He has a master's degree in politics and economics from the University of Bologna in Italy. And I wanted to get your opinion because you've lived in Italy. Obviously, there are pros and cons everywhere, but just talk to us about, before we even get into the visa options for Italy, I want to hear from your first-hand experience. Do you think it's worth investing in Italy, or would you rather suggest people looking elsewhere?
Well, I think nowadays investing in Italy is a risky bet. The Italian market has already been developed for many years, and breaking through to this market is going to be very hard and very expensive. Although Italy offers some advantages like the population, they have quite a few bucks to spend on whatever product, so you are targeting a high-end consumer market. So that's one of the benefits. But I say there are better opportunities elsewhere, particularly in non-developed nations where there's still a lot to do, a lot to create. I just don't see the attractiveness of Italy nowadays in terms of investment.
As Enzo suggested, Italy is just not one of the most competitive countries in the 21st century. It's not. And we had a discussion with Senator Lede of Paraguay, and he pointed out how European nations aren't really good at much these days, except for the production of wine and bonbons. But other than that, Unfortunately, Europe has lost its competitiveness, not just last year, but a couple decades ago, if we're honest about it. If you want to immigrate to Italy and you want to spend time there to invest, and maybe you find living in Italy very attractive, what you can do is you can invest 250,000 euros into an approved startup. This process can be accomplished by investing in a startup the government has approved. So there's a website you have to visit, and you can scroll through the available options. And it must be an Italian startup. It cannot be an offshore company. It cannot be a company located in any other country in the European Union. The company must be incorporated and approved in Italy. This option has gotten some attraction in recent years. Some people do see value in investing in Italy, and we have a little bit of a hard time understanding why, but it may make sense to invest in certain companies in Italy, especially if the companies are related to food and wine. I think this could make sense, and you have some experience doing some investing in winery and stuff, so there are some things you may want to consider investing in. The amount is 250,000 euros that must be actively put at risk. You must actively invest 250,000 euros in Italy. So the money can't just be sitting in a bank account. It can be used for like payroll, so paying your employees, obviously expenses, working capital, but you have to put the money at risk. Now, that's an option. If you want to immigrate to Italy and say you want to spend more money, there are other options too. You can invest about $2 million into government bonds. And there are also two lower tier options available where you can invest 500,000 euros and €1 million into the Italian economy. If you have passive income and you want to invest in Italy, say you want to purchase real estate, you may qualify for a retirement visa in Italy. Italy has this reciprocity clause where only people from reciprocal countries can purchase real estate in Italy and qualify for a long-term visa, aka residence permit. Now, Italy is one of the few countries in the world that has that, where Italy says you can invest in our country, you can purchase property, land, apartments, houses, whatever you're interested in, but there's a contingency in place where it only works for people from countries where Italians can do the same. It's called Italy's reciprocity rule. I honestly think that all countries should operate by this rule. If you're an Italian and you can buy real estate in the United States of America, then US citizens should also be allowed to purchase real estate in the United States of America. I think every country should follow Italy's footsteps on this one. I think this is a very fair concept because there are certain geographic locations where you, as a Paraguayan, or I, as an EU citizen, I can go there and purchase land. But the citizens of those countries, they can go to our countries and purchase land. It's a double standard that should be revoked immediately, in my humble opinion. Next up, we wanted to talk with you about Romania. Romania is an interesting country for startup entrepreneurs. Like Bulgaria, Romania has an interesting and fairly large tech pool where you can hire people at reasonable rates. Even though hiring people in Romania is definitely more expensive than in Bulgaria, it is still very competitive. It's a very competitive country. And if you, Enzo, can tell us more about it, please.
Yeah, so Romania is having a big push in tech. They are very interested in all that has to do with emerging technologies, especially on the green energy sector. And yeah, they have a substantial tax incentives for companies to start tech startups in Romania. We've seen that some electric car companies are already investing there, and especially Chinese companies are investing strongly in this country, and the future looks bright for Romania. It is a place where salaries are not that expensive, are not that high, taxes are not that high either, and yeah, the future looks bright for Romania.
Romania has several residence permits available to nationals who come to Romania from outside the European Union. And Romania probably makes it one of the easiest in the entire European Union. Other countries like Germany, Austria, or northern countries, they just make it a lot harder for you to get residency. In Romania, you can invest as little as 50,000 euros into a business and obtain residency. So this approach by Romania is very liberal. The Eastern European countries, generally, they have much lower taxes than their Western European counterparts. Making an investment a lot more sensible. In other countries, like in Italy, you have to invest 250,000 euros. That's the lowest tier option that you have. In Romania, it's 25% of that, right? So you're saving 80% of your money, plus you're investing in an economy and country that has more potential, in my opinion, with less regulation, much lower taxes, less bureaucracy. So in my opinion, Romania would just be more investable than a country like Italy. Now, in terms of quality of life, I don't think you can compare the two countries. I mean, the quality of life, the food quality, everything in Italy is definitely much better than probably in any Eastern European country. So everything in life is a trade-off. But since we're talking about investing in a business in Europe and finding the most lucrative options, which of course includes taxes, bureaucracy, I think these two countries, right, Bulgaria and Romania, are just a lot more sensible. There has been a change in Romanian politics. If you can please tell us what happened there.
Well, yes, there has been a recent shift in Romanian politics. There's presidential elections coming, and it has been particularly interesting because one of the candidates, which is Georgescu. So Romanian politics have seen a recent shift. There's been an upset, right? So this right-wing guy, Georgescu, he won the first runoff election against Lasconi, which is a pro-European candidate. And the interesting thing about Georgescu is that he is a right-wing candidate and that he is also very pro-Russia, which is noteworthy, and we have to pay attention to this.
Right-wing politics is dominating European politics these days. I mean, the same happened in Holland, in Austria. It's about to happen in Germany, Romania, and all the other countries follow naturally now. So I'm not surprised by this shift at all. Serbia is another country you might want to consider investing in as an entrepreneur. There have been many entrepreneurs from North America relocating to Serbia and other Eastern European countries, non-EU Eastern European countries, to have more freedom and enjoy lower taxes. While Serbia is not exactly a tax haven, it is a tax-friendly country or tax-friendlier country than other nations. And we talked about how the personal income tax rate, in fact, income tax rates in Serbia range from 10 to 20% depending on the type of income you generated during a given tax year. Like looking at whole Europe, this is not particularly bad. It's not ideal either. You know, there are certain countries where you pay even less in taxes, but like most countries are much worse. Most countries in Europe, like if you reach the highest income tax bracket, you're going to pay 55%. Of course, that's not going to be all of your income, but if you have a tremendous amount of income, you're going to reach much higher tax brackets. And obviously, these countries, the EU countries, they're applying progressive tax rates. In Serbia, it's relatively reasonable to start a business, to pay taxes. And I always think that it's good to have your income taxed somewhere at a low rate than to never have it taxed anywhere and have all your money in a tax haven. Because if at any point in the future you want to transfer the money out, they're going to ask you, where did you pay your taxes? Show us your tax return. And then people say, oh, you can fake this. I wouldn't fake it, but it's good if your money has been taxed somewhere. Even if it's at a very low tax rate, I think that's better than never having paid any income taxes at all. That raises a lot of red flags. Now, what's important to know about Serbia? Can you tell us about the political situation in Serbia?
Yes, so Serbia has been having the same president for over 6 years. He's called President Vucic. So he's on the first year of his second term. Well, this guy has been labeled by opposition as a populist trying to become a dictator. He's a very agile man on geopolitics. He works with China, he works with Russia, he works with the US, and he works with the European Union. He's a political mastermind, let's say, but he has had his shares of controversy in the past. For example, he has called for violence before. He used to be the Minister of Propaganda back in Yugoslavia times, so that's not good optics, let's say. And yeah, he's been constantly accused of amassing power in all branches of government, in the media, and it's just worrying that the situation might escalate again and we will have another Putin. It's worrying. But other than that, it's his last term. We'll see if he stays. I don't think he will stay. He has pressure from all sides, but it's a country to pay attention to, definitely.
Serbia has one of the lowest corporate tax rates in whole Europe. It's 10%, not bad. Not the best, but not bad either.
Yeah.
The other countries, as we've talked about, Bulgaria has also a very low corporate tax rate. Romania has very low corporate tax rates. And a couple other countries that might be interesting too, like Cyprus has kind of like a low corporate tax rate. And Serbia is not part of the European Union. It's not part of Schengen. And as Enzo pointed out, Serbia is really working towards relationships, or has been working toward relationships just with more parties. You know, the European Union, at some point they might want to join the European Union for obvious benefits, but at the same time they don't want to kill the relationship they have with Russia. You know, Serbia and Russia have a prolonged history, as much as other non-EU Eastern European countries have this extensive history with Russia. However, it will be interesting to see how Serbian politics may or may not affect tax rates in the foreseeable future. Like Bulgaria and Romania, Serbia offers one of the best tech talent pools in whole Europe. It's incredible how many talented English-speaking people there are in Serbia. And we haven't really talked about Paraguay or South America to see how the countries on this side of the world compare to the non-EU Eastern countries, right? One of the key advantages that Eastern Europe has over Latin America is that there's just a higher percentile of people that speak English in Eastern Europe versus here. In Latin America, I would say probably in Argentina you have the highest percentage, also in Panama. So if you really want to hire on this side of the world, you probably have to go to Argentina or Panama. In Paraguay, it's hard. We're doing it. It's hard. So Eastern Europe, especially the non-EU Eastern countries, you know, they have their benefits. Another country I wanted to touch on very briefly, a country where I have quite a bit of experience hiring, is Albania. Albania is also a non-EU country. It's not part of the European Union. It is located in the Balkans. It probably won't be joining the European Union anytime soon, but so many companies from Western Europe have moved into Albania for a lot of the same reasons that we already talked about. The lower taxes, the median salaries are just that much lower. It's just a much more competitive country, right? So a lot of the airlines, for instance, the German airlines, the Western European airlines, they moved their offices there, their call centers. A lot of them are now located in Albania. To be fair, a lot of people go into the Philippines, but that's kind of like a stretch in a lot of ways, right? So Albania is just a great country, and Albania has one of the lowest median ages in entire Europe. So this is just another great benefit that you get to enjoy when hiring in Albania. And also salaries are very low. It's a very competitive country. Taxes are relatively low, and the ease of doing business is also present. There's less regulation in places like Albania, Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, Romania than, say, Austria, Italy, Spain, France. It's just a nightmare to start a business in those Western European countries that are part of the European Union. Another reason why you might want to consider incorporating a business and getting residency in Europe is because of the proximity to Europe. Obviously, a lot of companies want to go into Asia. Some of them want to go maybe into Africa. Africa offers very much the same time zone, right? So there's no difference. But if you go with your company into Asia, oftentimes you can't have full company ownership. So you must start a business with a local partner, giving them 51% of your company. In Eastern Europe, you don't have to do that. You can retain full foreign company ownership, which is an advantage we haven't even talked about, but it's a big one because you don't want to hand your business to someone you don't know, and you want to be in a jurisdictional and under a jurisdictional authority where you're still protected or more protected than in other countries. So I think from this point of view, it also makes sense to go into, say, a Bulgaria, a Romania, a Serbia, an Albania. It makes a lot of sense. If you're interested in incorporating a business into a non-EU country that's located in Eastern Europe, you can contact us. Or if you're interested in incorporating a business in Romania, Bulgaria, you're also welcome to contact us. You should see our website displayed on the screen. We would love to work with you and help you start a business in Europe and also obtain your residence permit. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you, and we see you on the next video.